Then we have a false analogy. So an analogy is comparing two things, which we might want to do because if we take something that's very complex for our reader, we might compare it to something more simple for them to understand. But a false analogy is comparing two things that are significantly different. Okay, so there's so many things different about them that it becomes this false analogy. People, like dogs, respond best to punishment and reward. I can tell you that this is absolutely not true. I have a 5-year-old nephew, and he does not respond to punishment and reward. I can reward him, he'll still do naughty things. I can punish him, he'll still do naughty things. And so people are not like dogs in this way. We see that show, The Dog Whisperer. He seems to know exactly how to handle dogs. Children don't work that way. Each person is different and they respond differently. So this becomes that false analogy. This is a tricky one. Education cannot prepare men and women for marriage. So this is somebody maybe saying that people should live together before they get married, and they're using this reasoning why. Trying to educate them for marriage is like trying to teach them to swim without allowing them to get in the water. It can't be done. So what they're saying is in swimming, you need to get into the water to learn how to swim. But it doesn't work the same with marriage. Living together is not going to guarantee a happy marriage. And we see this, I think the evidence would show that even couples who live together before they get married have divorce rates that are comparable to those who wait. And so we're seeing this false analogy here in comparing marriage to swimming. Then we get non sequitur, which means it does not follow. These are other common types that I see in student essays, and it's usually where we have evidence, but the evidence has really nothing to do with the claims that they're making or the conclusions that they come up with. So the logical evidence or the evidence provided is irrelevant to the outcome. Okay, so we're not seeing good evidence to support what kind of conclusion we're making. My doctor thinks I need to lose weight, but he charged me $100 for the visit, so he must not really care about my health. Okay, so this is bad logic. It's saying if he really cared about my health, he'd give it for free. But we know that if doctors gave all their advice for free, then they would go broke. And so we can see a problem in this logic and a problem in the facts and the way that they're being applied. We look at this one. Because he grew up poor, the candidate will be sympathetic to the struggle of those in need. There's no evidence that this is true, that somebody who grew up poor will fight for the poor. That's like saying that because somebody grew up rich, they will always fight for the rich. That's just not the case, and that's not a logical argument. Okay, the last one is the straw man. So we think of the straw man in The Wizard of Oz. He was always getting knocked over, and that's what a straw man is here. It's reducing an opponent's arguments to simple and often negative statement. So it's something that we could easily knock over. So we think of a person who argues and argues and argues, and maybe they're arguing in a 20-page document, and we reduce that to one statement, a simple statement that's easy to knock over. Let's look at an example here. We have this statement: I cannot support a capitalist system in which so few have much and so many have so little. So capitalism is this big, complex system, and it's been reduced to this one statement in which a few have much and many have little. This was actually stated by Bernie Sanders, and this is a straw man fallacy towards capitalism. Then we look at this one. These laws to prevent climate change will negatively impact my business by forcing me to pay almost double for shipping, causing my prices to double as well. I will no longer be able to compete with overseas companies that don't face such restrictions. This person is saying because of these laws that are being put on me, my prices will double and I can't compete now with other countries. And so the response is this. So you're saying your new car is more important than the environment. What they're saying here is you care more about money than the environment. And that's not what the person is saying at all. So you can see that I'm reducing their statement or their argument to one simple, often negative or at least not truthful statement that's easily knocked over. I hope that you avoid these fallacies in your writing. There are a couple that have creeped up last semester when I gave this persuasive letter. One of the main ones was the false dilemma. Uh, we had students that said things like, so any intelligent person can see that this is a good plan. Well, what that's saying is either you can see it's a good plan or you're not an intelligent person. I have seen a lot of hasty generalizations where we take one little bit of data and we run wild with it. And so make sure that you are avoiding these fallacies in your own essays.